Welcome to Your Town television program. I'm your host, Paula Joy MacNab, and just so happy to be here. I love this opportunity to share amazing people with you, our viewing audience. And I have, I will say, a dear friend and a delightful woman to entertain and delight you and share a very, very exciting new film that she's working on, which all of you are going to want to enjoy and take part in. So, Jules Hart, filmmaker extraordinaire, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Paula. It's great to be here.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you here. We have talked film and many things over the years, and this is a great opportunity to share you with the world. And it's just a lot of fun to have you here.
Oh, well, thanks. Yeah. I remember our radio days.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. So I wanted to go a little bit about what you do and let people know what you're all about and the fabulous work that you do.
Well, I guess my biggest love is making documentary films, and that's kind of where my heart is. Oh, I just touched my microphone.
That's okay.
I started out at UCLA, and not in the film school, but in the folklore department, and telling stories.
Oh, stories.
I enjoyed hearing people's stories, and I was feeling like many people feel that it's a great way to make the world a smaller place. You can hear other people's stories, you empathize with them, and you understand, and it helps bring people together. And I just love that.
So I have to ask you a question, Jules. Is there still a folklore department?
Sadly, no.
What a marvelous thing. I'm just sitting here in awe thinking, what an amazing opportunity and place, a folklore department. How
there
magical.
Are very few folklore departments left. I think there's one at UC Berkeley, and there's one, I think, in Indiana, but there's very few left. I was one of the last two people to graduate from the UCLA folklore department. There just wasn't enough interest, and it got folded into the World Arts and Cultures program.
Right. Interesting.
So, yeah.
So talk about our stories.
Yeah. Well, I developed what I enjoy telling because I learned that it's good to tell things that you can relate to, so you're not looking at somebody like they're an insect and you're going to tell about them. You have to have some kind of connection with them. And we learned at UCLA who has the right to tell whose story. So
what does that mean?
That means if I am diametrically opposed to what you're doing, I might possibly show you in a light that's not very fair to you or flattering to you. And some people do that.
Yes.
But if I am asking you to give me your story, but inside I'm really judging you, I'm not going to give you a fair portrayal. I will have an agenda.
Okay.
So if I have an open heart, and so the reason my film Pink Smoke Over the Vatican, many people, it's about the ordination of women as priests in the Roman Catholic Church.
So why the title?
Well, because when they elect a new pope, they burn either white smoke or black smoke. So we were prophetically saying one day there'll be pink smoke.
I think it's a brilliant title. I love it.
But people were saying, but you're not Catholic. What gives you the right to tell this story? And I felt it's because I'm mostly in the age group of these women. I'm a spiritual person, and I'm a feminist. So I felt that I could relate to them and that they could relate to me and trust me with their story, because that's part of it. You have to be entrusted with this story.
Oh, absolutely. So in making that film, and when did that come out, Jules?
Well, it really came out in 2012. So it's been a few years now.
Right. And where has it gone? Tell us more about that. It's a very rich story.
Well, it has been seen probably by, I don't even know, let's say 30,000 people in this time. So we've sold over 6,000 DVDs copies, and I've been to screenings all over the world. And so
You went to Europe? And,
we spread the message. It's been translated into 5 languages.
Wow.
So it had a nice reach, even though now it's dated because it was talking about the old Pope, Pope Benedict the 16th.
Right.
So,
but the story is evergreen in the sense that of what you're saying about women and possibilities and
nothing's changed.
Right.
In fact, our current Pope has said that it's a closed subject still. There will never be women priests. So that's disappointing because he's so progressive in many other areas. So a lot of people are very disappointed in that.
What do you think the message here, or where would women go with this? For example,
Well, a lot of women that are very traditional Catholics, they decide to follow the Pope. So whatever the Pope decides, they're fine with it. Other women will stay in the church and continue to fight for equality as they see it, and other people will leave.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you said something really interesting a minute ago, which is, people said to you, well, how can you tell this story? You're not Catholic. However, you are a woman. You are a feminist. You are this. You're of the age. And that really opened my eyes, Jules, to how we can be pigeonholed into something which we're so much more than that.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Oh, well, yes, it's very true. I don't mean that you have to be exactly like your subjects.
Yes.
But you have to have a kinship.
We have so many commonalities as human beings.
We do.
Yeah.
And so maybe the point is that you should be able to open the possibilities instead of close them as a filmmaker.
Ah, that's fantastic.
And invite more people into the conversation.
Yeah. So tell us what you're working on now. Tell us about Boomer Love.
Well, this is so...
I'm so excited about this. This is just big fun.
Well, this is diametrically opposed to anything I've been doing for years. I mean, since 1998, I've been considered myself a filmmaker behind the camera. And that's what I've loved. And I feel
But you're also an actor.
That's how I began. And I started acting when I was 11. So I always dreamt of being, in those days, an actress in Hollywood. And I did pursue that for 10 years. And I just never got a break. And so it just occurred to me that I just didn't want to continue at it. I didn't see an opening for me. So that's when I went to UCLA. I went back to school. But I've always had a little bit of a heartbreak about it, because it was something I always wanted and always dreamt of. And I think I just closed off that part of me just hardly, I'm not going to ever do that again, because I was hurt and rejected.
Of course.
And you get rejected, believe me, over and over and over. So when Bob Franco, who's the creator of Boomer Love, he's the writer, the director, the shooter, he does everything, he asked me to help him produce it and perhaps edit it, which I feel my strength is an editor. And we were talking about it, and he said, you've acted in your past. Why don't you be in it? And I was like, nope. But anyway, to make a long story short, he convinced me to give it a try, and it's been a joy and a delight. And I realize that it's healing me from those old wounds of failing and being rejected. And the stakes are so low because we're just sort of doing it for fun. I mean, of course we want it to go somewhere, but there was no pressure. I didn't have to audition. I didn't have to beat out 300 people to get the part. So it's just been fun.
So tell us a little bit of the story about Boomer Love.
Well, it's about baby boomers who, and in my character's case, she is looking for a way to earn a living, and all of her friends are widowed or divorced or looking for a mate, and so she decides to open a matchmaking service. And
I love this.
Not very good at it.
She's not very good at it.
so far.
Uh-huh.
So, but she's, she's working at it.
Yeah.
And,
Tell us a little bit. Give us a little more. Some of the story of the first episode.
oh, well, in the first episode, she meets a very wealthy man named Harv. Who is, he's in his late 50s, and he's looking for a 20-year-old, basically. And Summer says, well, there's nothing I can do for you. This is not the way I work. I don't work externally.
Uh-huh.
And so he agrees to go out on a date with a woman closer to his own age. So we will see.
We will see. To be continued.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I think it's a great, and you and I have talked about this, I think it's such a powerful story.
Yeah.
And I always come back to our stories because I think our lives are defined by our stories. Mm-hmm. And when we shift the story, even if it's one word, from, I'm a victim of my past to I'm a product of my past, the empowerment that can happen. And so shifting the story and writing a new story sounds to me like what this is all about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even in my case, I'm a failed actress. I never made it. I couldn't get a break. Those were all the things that I'd say about my past. I wouldn't even talk about it. I never wanted anyone to know I even tried acting. So now it's like to even put on I see on my lower third title, it says actress. Sometimes I'm like, yes, yeah. To own that.
To own that. So you're really recreating and creating your reality, would you say?
I would.
Yeah.
I would. And it's been great. And it's been from joy.
Yes.
That's the other part of it.
Yeah.
It's, I think at our age we've learned a lot through pain and suffering and mistakes. And not that we won't have those in our future, but now it's time to learn from having some fun and, enjoying our lives.
So what would you say to other men and women who would like to rewrite their stories?
I think one thing might be, what did I used to love to do? That my heart was broken, or I failed at, or I put it aside because my father said blah, or my mother said this, or my friends made fun of me. And even if you don't, like right now with Boomer Love, not one of us has made a dime on this. We're just doing it for fun.
Not yet. Yeah.
But we're having a blast doing it, and we're all creating, and it's fun. So we're playing. Go back to playing again.
So do you find, Jules, that play and that having fun and that delight and that laughter, is that by any chance spilling over into any other areas of your life?
I believe so. I really do.
Yeah.
I think I had a lot of, this didn't happen, that didn't happen. I think by the time you get to middle age, you've had a lot of disappointments. You've had deaths. You've lost your parents, perhaps. You've been divorced. There's a lot of failures. There's a lot of pain. And there comes a point where you have to say, okay, that all happened. It created me. It made me who I am. I am stronger now. I am wiser now, hopefully more compassionate and more empathetic. Yes. I've learned, but now, hey, to carry that around anymore, okay, let it go. And this is my, I think a lot of people at my age now are looking at how many years do I have left? I would like to really have some fun and do things that I love and that hopefully I'm good at.
So to reconnect with that, and I think your advice is really, really golden, is to ask ourselves a question. What do I love?
What do I love?
Yeah.
And if you're not doing it, why and what can I do? I read an article this morning and it said instead of being entertained all the time, why don't we make a choice of learning something? And which I like entertainment. Obviously, that's something I provide for people. But it's true, if you're only on the receiving end, it's very passive. Right? So what about learning and creating something?
Right. Well, going to programs of, writers' workshops and going and participating in theater.
Yes.
And being a participant and stepping forth, and even, as I was speaking to another guest, 2 lines. If you're scared to be in a play, but you can do 2 lines.
Yeah.
I mean, what an empowering place to be. Exactly. And then your courage and your power rolls over and over and over, and the world becomes a brighter, happier place.
I think, and facing your fears and facing these disappointments. You know, this disappointed me, so I'm not going to ever go there again. Well, just see. Just see, because it may be keeping you, you know, that might be one of the dragons at the gate.
Yes.
You know, in the fairy tales, you have to always go through the dragons at the gate.
Those darn dragons.
Okay, there they are.
There they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe I can make them a little smaller in my mind by saying that's a lizard.
Yes, exactly.
We could retell that story. So, Jules, how can people watch and see some of your work? So tell us the two.
Well, at Boomer Love, right now we have a website, boomerloveshow.com, and we're posting all our episodes there. We've chosen to do a 5-minute segment because people can watch that quickly and engage and move on. I'm a 50-something baby boomer, and I started Boomer Love, a matchmaking service to help the lonesome and pay the rent. I thought it would be easy.
I like perky boobs. Now, I know it wasn't in the application, but I put it in the extra comments section.
That man you set me up with, I want my money back.
There's over 20 grand in invoices in there, and some other stuff. Collect it, and you keep the money, honey.
And just like that, he was gone faster than a child support check. I know a woman who is a former Olympic swimmer, very smart,
How old is she?
old enough to be your girlfriend.
Summer Day.
Yes, that's my real name.
So where's the body mistake?
You must be looking for the self-improvement section. Down there, take a left.
Every now and then I need to unload feelings and fears to a professional. There was a dead man in my house.
You're the matchmaker, right?
Grizz, where are you going?
Gotta lay low. I'll call you later.
And we're also on Facebook, so if you search Facebook for Boomer Love, we'll come up.
Boomer Love Show or Boomer Love?
Boomer Love on Facebook, I think.
Okay.
The page should come
Okay.
up, and you can engage with us there. You can message us. You can write comments. You can share. We're talking about opening it up to a wider conversation, asking people about dating at this time of life, thanks to your suggestion.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, we all have a story.
Yes.
Whatever it is, whether we're in a long-term relationship, whether we're single, whether we're newly single, whatever it is, we all have a story.
Yes.
And some of them are fascinating, some are heartbreaking, some make us laugh and cry, and they're all to be shared.
Yeah.
So this is really great. I am so excited about your work and what you do and continue to do, and thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate you being here.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's really always fun. And this is Your Town television program. I'm your host, Paula Joy MacNab, and look for the Boomer Love Show. Is that right?
Yep.
Boomer Love Show. It's really entertaining. Get involved. Send your stories in. Come and play with Jules. She's delightful. Thank you for joining us.